It's chilly today and it looks kind of interesting because there's a huge cloud, like a line of it blocking the sun, acting as a shade of sorts, so it gives it kind of an interesting effect. Kind of neat. And what I read today, I guess this was kind of interesting. Here, this one says, Korean Air develops world's first aircraft inspection technology using drone swarms. Korean Air, with its extensive experience in manned and unmanned aerial vehicle development, has developed a technology that can inspect aircraft using drone swarms. Korean Air held a demonstration event for aircraft inspection technology using drone swarms on December 16th at the airline headquarters hangar. Drone aircraft inspection has transformed maintenance norms and is being introduced by airlines around the world. Whereas maintenance specialists previously had to perform a visual check of the aircraft fuselage from heights of up to 20 meters, drone inspections improve workplace safety and allow for increased accuracy and speed. It says drone aircraft inspection has been transformed maintenance norms and is being introduced by airlines around the world. Whereas maintenance specialists previously had to perform a visual check of the aircraft fuselage from heights of up to 20 meters. From the sounds of it too, it seems like people are already using drones in this way with aircrafts, but they're using a swarm of them. It says Korean Air's aircraft inspection technology is the first in the world to deploy multiple drones simultaneously, shortening maintenance time and dramatically increasing operational stability. The airline has developed a drone with a 1 meter width and height weighing 5.5 kilograms. The aircraft fuselage can be inspected using 4 of these drones simultaneously. The company has also developed an operations program that allows 4 drones to be programmed to take photos of pre-planned areas. If one of the drone fails to operate, the system is configured to automatically complete the mission using remaining drones. It's kind of funny with that in mind. Are they terrified that these drones are going to go out of control and hit like a manned aircraft taking off and all that? I would guess in general, it's more practical, as they say, so it's just a matter of time until they start using stuff like this. And this was kind of interesting. We're reading that other news recently with Apple suing that company that created things like software and stuff that enabled people to spy on whoever's using their products. This one's from Facebook or Meta, and apparently they're trying to go after, I guess, people using software and all that, or whatever it means, to try to fish out information of people in a malicious way, I guess you could say. This one says, taking action against the surveillance for hire industry. The global surveillance for hire industry targets people to collect intelligence, manipulate and compromise their devices and accounts across the internet. While these cyber mercenaries often claim that their services only target criminals and terrorists, our months-long investigation concluded that targeting is in fact indiscriminate and includes journalists, descendants, critics of authoritarian regimes, families of opposition and human rights activists. We disabled 7 entities who targeted people across the internet in over 100 countries, shared our findings with security researchers, other platforms, and policymakers, issued cease and desist warnings, and also alerted people who we believe were targeted to help them strengthen the security of their accounts. It's kind of interesting too, just reading, I guess, what these companies or groups were. And you can see like this little chart here. It says stages of surveillance, reconnaissance, engagement, exploitation. So names of, I guess, companies here, and then all of a sudden it says an unknown entity in China. That's what I was kind of interested in. Like, what does that mean? It says here for the description, surveillance chain phases, primarily reconnaissance exploitation. We removed about 100 Facebook and Instagram accounts linked to an unidentified entity in China, responsible for developing surveillanceware for Android, iOS, Windows, and also Linux. It also engaged in reconnaissance and social engineering activity before delivering malicious payload to its targets. While we haven't been able to attribute this activity to a particular actor, our investigation and analysis of the command and control service behind the surveillance tooling indicates its usage by domestic law enforcement in China. That's kind of scary, isn't it? Although then again, you wouldn't be surprised with stuff like this happening nowadays. Any country could technically do this as well, huh? And you guys asked a question which I thought would be interesting, as I guess a lot of other people would want to know as well. It says, a question about your Mini 2. Is there anything that you wish it had but doesn't? And is there anything you don't like about it? Or is it the perfect drone for you? In terms of the perfect drone for me, I don't think it's the perfect drone per se. it's the most convenient. That's the key thing, because in terms of quality and stuff, even with my Mavic Pro, I noticed when you capture things like sunlight, for example, you just get this different look and feel. It's more cinematic. It's probably due to things like the larger lens and all that, but in general, again, this is more about convenience. It's currently, from what I have, the best available item to use in various circumstances. And that doesn't mean convenience in terms of, for example, put it in your backpack or something like that. It's more about regulations. I mean, I have an advanced license and all that, but there's many situations where it's just easier to use something smaller. Imagine all of those situations throughout the year so far. Oh, a sudden thing occurred here. Okay, are you have to go through all this process now just to get this thing up in the air to take a picture, or just fly this up? I'm trying to think what I can fairly criticize in that sense, because it is what it is. You can't expect too much, in my opinion, for something so small. Like, obviously it'd be nice if the thing flew for 1 hour or something like that, but let's get real. But I guess in terms of a fair comment, I would say I would wish it had better low light capability. Because just in general, when you're in an area where it's dark on the bottom, bright in the sky, man, the picture is so unbalanced in that way, so it's harder to get the right shot. It's kind of okay in many cases for myself, because usually when I fly and capture stuff, I do it multiple times. One time it could be with a certain filter, the other time with a different one, so in that sense it's okay. But yeah, I just wish it had better things like dynamic range and all that. One thing I don't like about the product though, for sure, which is pretty universal for all DJI products in general, for the ones that I've used anyways for their drones, is their geofence. It's just a complete nuisance where you have all the permission in the world and so forth to use the product. You could have the advanced license like I do, but still, they insist you must go through them. One great example this year, actually, remember when I went to the Barkerville to help film that gold show? There's an area there where DJI insists you need to get it unlocked through them. Now, in general, I had full permission to do all the flying. There's no issue with what I was using and all that. Plus the fact that there was, I have an advanced license. But imagine they're having to go through DJI all the time because they insist they're the gatekeeper, so to speak, even though I feel it's, I paid for this product. Plus the fact, if I already have permission, why should I have to go through you again and again? To make matters worse, in that area, if you guys remember, the internet connection was virtually zero in some places. So imagine trying to get it unlocked while you're up there. Fortunately, I was able to afterwards through some workaround, getting different connections and all that, but still, that's one thing I don't like about DJI products in general, which would include basically with the Mini here. But again, overall for this drone, it's more about the convenience, and if I had to, I guess, try to fix something, I would prefer it if it had better low light capabilities and none of this geofence stuff, in my opinion anyways. Other than that, you can't really expect too much just based on the size and all that. Although an interesting note about that show I helped film, they actually showed me this rough cut that they made of a reel and so forth. It looks kind of cool. I was surprised how much of the drone footage came in handy for them. And there was some parts where I thought, oh, that would have been perfect if I had like an FPV drone instead. It makes me wonder still if I should try stuff like that. I still haven't actually seen something that I would be able to use, I guess, every single day and all that as well. But different types of drones for different situations, I guess you could say. See you guys later.